COMiX newsroom. It's time to get you wired in and get your daily dose of the COMiX news, hosted by Mr. Anderson, who is the unboxable, uncanny, advocating creator who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish monsters and more. Join him and his co-hosts as they give you the news coming off the COMiX News Wire. Brought to you in association with... Subscribe to IndieVolt.com to recharge your fandom and to get an education. Be sure to check out all of the Indie Vault programming on the Nines with hosts like Randy Zimmerman, The Kid, Varian Grant, The Indie Princess, with more hosts and shows to come.
Mr. Anderson is the unboxable advocating creator known as the devilish comics creator who will tempt you with his devilish tales. He creates books about fetish, monsters, and more, and offers free spanks and hugs. He also teaches morals with farts. Check out the COMiX Devil by going to MrAnderson.com.
We got a lot to share with you today. I am your host, the uncanny indie devil, Mr. Anderson. We're going to be bringing you this show weekdays starting today at 11 a.m. Welcome to it. Hi, Sarah. All right, so let's go over some stuff first, and we'll get to our newsroom and show you the changes and talk about some things that are changing. First up, I wanted to take a minute, and I wanted to thank everyone who had reached out to me. For those in the know, they know that we had a family emergency where my mother fell ill. I've spent the last 4 weeks dealing with her care and then, unfortunately, her passing. It is time to move forward, but I want to take this moment and thank everyone, including the team at Indie Vault, for being patient with the launch of this show. As you guys are seeing, they're going to be part of this. We're going to talk about Geek Insider, who have been part of this and who I just joined when my mother fell ill and had to put all of that on pause. I want to thank my creative teams out there that are working on books with me that understood I had to take a pause. All the people who reached out to me, I'm not even going to name a single one. There are just so many of you, and I am blown away by it. Everyone checking on me, everyone asking me how I'm doing. Honestly, thank you so much for caring and sending your wishes and your prayers our way. Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge my partners at Terraform Comics for being very supportive. And I just want to thank the people who have asked me how I was doing just almost daily, some of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that support. Having that much time off, of course, you have time in between having to make decisions, even talking to people about what's going on. It gives you time to start to develop things in your mind. You have to distract yourself, and I've worked out a lot of things for these programs, and that includes an updated newsroom, which you guys are going to be seeing in just a minute, actually. And here we go. I'm pretty excited about this huge change. The first bit of news that we have is the fact that, unfortunately, we are, well, not unfortunately, but we are officially canceling all programming. The reason we're canceling all programming is to bring you this news show. The only thing that will not be canceled and will remain on the Indie Vault Network and the Advocating Network will be the Devil Advocate. Now, what is the Devil's Advocate? Let's check it out. This is Saturday at 9 p.m.
It's time to get real about shit and have some hard conversations and rip apart topics to make sure we advocate for every angle of that topic. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate, brought to you by Indie Vault. Give your fandom a recharge, and hosted by the uncanny indie devil, Mr. Anderson. Follow all the COMiX Devil's tales at MrAnderson.com.
Original music by Unicorn Heads for the YouTube Audio Library. This music is free for you to use on YouTube videos. Find the music in YouTube Audio Library in the Creator Studio. Search Unicorn Heads.
And now on to the topic. The opinions expressed in the following broadcast are not necessarily those of Indie Volt Media LLC, its staff, contributors, or sponsors. Viewer discretion is advised. Now, for the news, you're going to find that I'm going to embrace more the advocate role that I've had. That means you won't hear me cursing during this news program. And while I don't think that we're necessarily going to enforce that to all of our guests, we will ask guests to mind their language. The reason for that is that this show will be going forward a way to advocate for people, and I don't want to have people have a second guess about being on the show because we're cursing all the time. I personally curse in real life. I use curses, but I don't want to show full of them. We have the devil's advocate now that's basically going to be a show where I can let loose a little bit more on the Indie Volt Network at night. But this is going to be coming to you every day at 11 a.m. Why 11 a.m.? Well, we did this over 2 years ago, and it went really well. As a matter of fact, Chuck used to host our Friday show, which actually wound up later in the day. We originally tried to do it at 4 p.m. We tried a 6 p.m. slot, but 11 a.m. seemed the best. We got your news to you early. It was news at 11. Pretty exciting about that, and we want to build a show that is going to allow people the opportunity to advocate for not only themselves, but their projects as well. So we're going to be bringing in many different formats. We will have the roundtable discussions on some of our shows. We're going to have the nuts and bolts brought to us by Luke Stone. He's going to bring us occasionally some nuts and bolts videos, maybe a quick discussion and update. We're going to get updates from Meredith Logren. I think I'm saying that wrong. I'm sorry, Meredith. I just, one day I'm just going to start calling you Meredith L just to make everything easier so I don't insult you. So that is going to fall within our purview. Basically, purview, I think I said that wrong, but you get what I mean. So basically, we're going to have breaking news on the show. We're going to have topics every day. Friday will be more of a wrap-up show. Monday will be a catch-up show for over the weekend. Tuesdays, we're going to have a focus on what is, our usual, and I'll pull let me see, our usual, I don't think I'd have an overlay, but I can change the background now. Our indie news segment where we focus. Every show is going to start with us on indie news. So if you guys have news about your comic book, about your crowdfunding, that's what we want to cover straight out of the gate. That's going to be what we're covering. It's going to be the indie news, and I'm going to call up the image. So we're also going to be doing interviews on this show. We're going to try to do 15 to 20-minute interviews when we can schedule them. So that is going to be something that we're definitely trying to bring you guys more information about everything that's going on. So here we go. And this is brought to you by the Comic Book Advocates Network, which is also, of course, affiliated with what we're doing here. And if you have news for us or any comments, we have a mailroom now. And I'm going to take away the overlay so you can see that. We have the COMiX Newswire at yahoo.com. If you want to be covered on this show or have a project covered on the show, give us a video. Big thing here, guys, give us videos. Give us 3-minute videos that we can play online. If you guys don't want to make an interview and you just want to make a pitch, up to 3 minutes, which means you can make a 60-second one. You can do anything that you need to do, and understand that we're going to treat this like the news. So we're going to not only be playing ads for Indie Volt, but we'll also be playing ads for other things, including one of the things that we need to get going is to make sure that we can stay on air with all the equipment that we need and all the stuff that keeps us on air, including websites. So we'll also be asking you guys if you can possibly donate to keep us live. Help us continue to advocate. While we advocate for thousands of creators and hundreds of projects a year at no charge, the tools we use, such as web hosting, URLs, and computers, have an annual cost. Help comic book advocates stay on air. Please consider donating anything you can to help us to continue to advocate and put on advocating program for everyone to enjoy. Become an advocate for us and a sponsor for advocating. Who knows? If we make enough, maybe we can hire a full-time editor. And you guys can get all your stuff on here. With that right there, as being part of our show. It's that simple. We want this open for everyone. And one of the things I definitely want to talk about is our partnership with Geek Insider, which is super important to us. Geek Insider, we're in I can't say that word. We have a collaborative effort. For some reason, my dyslexia is messing with me with that word today. Those who've watched know that every so often I just hit a word that has trouble for me. So we are going to be having a wrap-up. The wrap-up show on Fridays, we're going to be doing a special article for the big news in comics every week on Friday, and Geek Insider starting next week. So I'm super, super excited about this. So everything, press releases. Are you asking, Pop Van Zandt, if press releases will be on our show? Yes, we can feature press releases. That's absolutely something that we can and want to do. So if you guys have a press release, please send it in to us, again, at our email. I'll show it to you one last time. The Comics Newswire at yahoo.com. And send us your emails, and you will be featured on the show. Basically, and I want to stress this here, and I'm going to make this very clear here, guys. For lack of a better term, this show especially will be neutral territory. There will be no demonizing people. There will be no, well, they're this or they're that. We are a Comics Gate ally, as well as we are an ally to all comic book creators. We're not playing games. We're not playing sides. There's too much going on for us to pick a side on anything. What we are going to do is we're going to take a hard look at who we're promoting in that moment. Now, understand we're going to get it wrong every so often. There's going to be someone we promote. We're going to do maybe play something from their Kickstarter or Indiegogo. We're going to get it wrong, and they're not going to be a great person. That's just going to happen. That's the reality of life. We've already seen it happen. And we have to come to terms with that. That we'll cover the story as long as there is a story. But we're not always going to get that story right. We're going to have problems at times giving you guys all the information about who a person really is, because we won't know about it while we're promoting them. However, if it is brought to our attention that someone is doing something egregious, we will no longer cover them until they have proven that they are no longer egregious. However, that does not mean that people with sense of humor are going to be instantly thrown away. People who are going out and having political fights, not necessarily what we care about. We're talking about people who aren't delivering on their Kickstarters or Indiegogos, situations like that. However, if someone is COMiXgate, I don't care. We're going to cover them. If someone's part of a Whisper network, I don't care. We're going to cover them. Unless we find out they're actively doing something that is demonizing and trying to hurt another creator, kneecapping them. Everyone's not going to like each other, and we're not going to play games. This isn't a schoolyard. This is going to be a news program. We're going to give you news. That's it. Okay. That's it. That's what we have going on. We're pretty excited about it. Sorry, I didn't know someone wanted to come on the show. So this is your show. Notice that I have a tie on. I'm not saying I'll put a tie on every day, but I want you to understand we want this to be your show, your news, and that means all of us. You don't have to like everyone who's actually on the show, but you have to understand that this is meant to help everyone and anyone. This is neutral territory from here on in. This is creative Switzerland. And I want you to understand that. We're not taking sides. Does that mean me as the Uncanny Indie Devil won't have opinions? Of course I'll have opinions. Sorry, I just have a dry throat today. Of course I'll have opinions. Opinions are something that God gave all people. And some people even believe their opinion is that there is no God. So we accept all of that. And I'm going to have opinions, but not on this show. Unless we're doing a round table, you will see me just give the information. And we're going to have co-hosts. And if I'm lucky, one of you guys or gals, remember when I say guys, I mean girls too. I don't care. It's non-gender to me. It's gender neutral to me when I say guys. I hope one of you guys actually takes over a day or two. That'd be cool, right? To have different hosts for the news. We did it once with Chuck. I would love to see someone take over at the 11 a.m. one day a week, especially on Fridays and Mondays, because when we get back to doing shows, I will be traveling again to do those shows. But enough about me and all that. But I hope you get the point of this show is going to be to advocate for people. It is not going to be taking a side. It's not going to be telling people who they have to affiliate with or what they declare they are. I don't care. I don't have time to care, and I won't put the energy into caring. I will tell you the story. That's it. I don't want to hear gossip. I don't want to promote all of that stuff. Now, with that in tow, we are going to spend, I'll put it this way. We do a lot of fact checking. When we do a show from now on where there is some bad news that we have to talk about a creator, it will be given to you as factual, and that will be the end of it. It'll be short, exactly what you need to know, and we will move on. There will be no commentary on negative stories on these shows outside of our take at a roundtable. The roundtables will be where a bunch of creators get together. We will have Michael Odin, and once he's back up and ready to go, we'll have Josh Lyman. They will be part of our co-hosts, and on those days we'll specifically have roundtables, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we'll talk about the different news stories that are going on. We'll have a roundtable. Like I said, Mondays we're going to do catch-ups, and Friday's going to be we'll go over the week and talk about anything going on the weekend. Of course, now during the beer bug pandemic, we can't talk about a lot of the weekend stuff. So with that in mind, we will talk about possibly online things that are going on for the weekend. Like this weekend is Metaverse from Reed Pop, who just announced that New York Comic Con is no longer going to take place physically, but will be a virtual event. So with that in mind, we're going to take a quick station identification break, and this is a message for you. Be more than just a fan. Become an advocate for comics. Subscribe to comicbookadvocates.com, the site that puts the love of comics first. All right. Now, when we do roundtables, I expect that segment to have a little bit of cursing. But again, we'll tell the creators to try to tone down their rhetoric a bit, to try to speak on a more professional public level. We're going to try not to do cursing and all that stuff. We're going to try to be a little bit more open to an entire audience on this show. So we will have, I don't even think I can play my own clip for the Devil's Advocate. I might just have to explain the Devil's Advocate from now on going forward. All right. So we got most of the information in there now. This will be a show where it's not open invite, because we will have that, but we will be doing something called the elevator pitch. Now, the elevator pitch will be segments on the show where we will tell people that they can come on, and we will usually make an announcement, probably on Thursdays, that if you want to be on to pitch your book, you can come on. The idea will be that we'll get like a few creators together each week, and they'll come on the show, and they'll give us the pitch, and if we like what we hear, we will ask them to tell us where we can continue to know more about what they're here to talk about. We're going to be trying to integrate QRC codes going forward. So they'll come on, they'll give us a pitch, and if we like what we see and what we hear, we'll put up there. If it's a bad pitch, we'll send them back into the pitch locker room, and they can come back on later, see if they can get us a pitch that works. And we maybe give them a little critique and send them on their way. But we want to have something that is definitely exciting. And we want you guys to, of course, this is about you now. This is about the fans watching it. This is all about you. Everything we're going to do is about you and advocating for creators. So depending on who's watching this right now, if you're a creator, you need to start getting your press releases together. You got to give us information that we can report on like it's news. We can't report on things, and we're going to go to our newsroom, where you guys are just handing us lazy stuff and pictures and images. There's not a lot of news to report on that. We need something that fits into a context here. And you guys can see now we actually have on our site, and I'm going to actually grab this right now and put it in the chat room. We have a place where you can send us an email now. How cool is that? So you can just send us an email, give us all that information, and now you can be part of this show immediately. And this will definitely help the radio listeners from Indie Volt. When we're live and they want to interact with us, we can keep that open and keep things going. So, right, here we are. That we're going to have indie news. We had something with the creative and amazing Coffin Comics creator, and he talked about how to thrive as an indie creator on YouTube. And we'll probably keep this till Monday because I haven't really covered it yet. And what we're going to do is, like you can see here, over the weekend, this is the catch-up. So right here, we'll do the catch-up. And then in the middle of this, I'd probably play a video to scroll to the other side when we're done. Now, I don't have any news yet for Monday because we haven't done Monday. But every Monday in the morning before we go live, or even Sunday night, I might add things in here. Or Tuesday night, I might add in for Wednesday. Once our show is done, it's done. So after 11 on AM to 12. By the way, we're a 1-hour show. I don't know if I mentioned that. We're going to be a strict 1-hour show going forward. Today, we're not exactly going to adhere to having to hit an hour. I'm still going to, and you guys can hear my throat's a little sore from the week. And I want to let it rest a little bit for this exciting week. But what we're going to do is have a week of all these stories. We're going to deliver them. And on Friday, we'll probably unpack them a little deeper than we do during the week. And then, of course, be kind and share. And then we'll have the last rights in here. Now, we might do a segment where we feature one crowdfunding event a day, but we will have a crowdfunding show. Now, I'm going to explain what that is in just a minute. And we're going to get our news from Geek Insider and Indie Volt and the Comic Book Advocate Network Facebook group, which you will be able to actually add to us. And we'll put your news in here if it's newsworthy. And again, I want to stress this to everyone. What's newsworthy? Telling me a release date for something, talking about a Kickstarter, talking about maybe an alternate cover. Give me something I can talk about. If you just put up art for this next thing, we're not going to cover that. That's what we have a group for. You guys can check out all that stuff on the group. But when you have something well put together, we will run that as an article, as something to talk about. We want you to do that. We want you to get your fan bases excited. We want to get you more fans that we can and more excitement. So give us something to talk about. So here, not even picking on anyone, but let's do that. I'm going to go over to the Comic Book Network's advocate thing, protecting members posting content. So that's new. All right, so here we go. Here, this is from Dwayne Showtime Robinson. Here we go. Good morning, everyone. Here's the colored version of ICHI, Warrior of Demon. Still going through fonts and titles, so I'll get back soon, but I hope you like it. See, now this is something that we could probably show, because he's telling us that this is something that is, it would help if I was showing you the screen, wouldn't it? That button didn't take on me. Here, hold on. There we go. See, now this is something that we could quickly show you the colors, take a minute, go check that out, and here we go. So now you get the idea. So even here we have Swords of Justice. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Soon on campaign next to you. See, something like this, it's an ad. So if you gave this to me as a quick ad, like with a video voiceover, we would play that in the middle of the show. Coming soon Kickstarters. If you don't give me any hype right here, there's not much I can talk about. Of course, DC had a bloodbath. What just happened? They're talking about, of course, DC Comics had a horrible week of layoffs and all that. So we're waiting to see what happens next. But we have, here we go, the Super Cat, great for kids, kid-friendly comic books. See, Greg Kenny McQueen says the Sheer Chronicles Family Matters Kickstarter. See, again, guys, give me something here. Give me something here to talk about on this show that I could actually bring up. See, here we go. This is something interesting. We have returned. Episode 38 is live. Returning after a month break. They had Matt and Steph. See, something like that I can read, and I can give you guys something to talk about, listen, and follow. And then we have Bad Girls. All right. But here we go. Dear friends, it's now online. Kickstarter for the last 4 days of my project, so we're probably already too late to cover this. Bad Girls 2. An art pinup illustrated by me. It's an art book for 40 illustrations. Take a look and support. See, at least I have something there. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Here's the latest page of my superhero comedy web comic Steamroller Man. I guess we could take a look at this as like something that we could put into the news. That wouldn't bother me. But again, I mean, give me content. Good job, Greg. Greg's given us content to talk about. He says new reward tier gets you not only 2 issues of those that don't want the remastered issue #1. Side note, we are $366 away from our 2,000 milestone goal. So, you know, we have a video here. I could check there after this, but we could just take a break. Let me see how that's coming across for you guys. Is that laggy? Yeah, I got to try to figure out if we can get better. But if he actually gave us this video upload, we could play this for him. So I'm going to reach out to Dwayne at some point. Or Dwayne, if you're watching, please reach out to us and give us this video so we can play this for you every so often on our show and get you some more views. All right? But I like that. I like this. Something like this is exactly what we're talking about, Dwayne. Showtime Robinson doing a good job here. So I'm pretty excited about that. So Dwayne, if you're watching, reach out to us. Again, Nicholas Yanes gave us in a recent interview. And we don't mind promoting these interviews and stuff like that for other sites. And Sal talks to us about the Protectors. See, now 3 more hours to pledge to this project. Come on, you know you want to. I would like to see a pitch here as opposed to this, Sal. So give me something to talk about. Talk about your next stretch goal. Talk about the character. Give me insight to it that I can talk about. Again, see all this, tune in, podcast. That's Sean. You could do better, man. You could do better. Give me something. Give me some meat. Okay, so here we go. Even down here, make it interesting for people to read. And, you know, okay, so here, on a Super Cat this week, the end of our story is just the beginning of another. Super Cat continues right there. The Kickstarter is live. See, something like that, that's fine. That'll work. There we go. Anthony gives us, make sure to catch God's hand on Indiegogo. We got some art here before it closes out, and there we go. And I could see this because there's enough art here that we could quickly look around it. We could blow it up and make it interesting for you guys. Let's see. And I think that's enough content right there. It gives us what we need to know that it's about to end on Indiegogo, and it tells us something. And it gives us enough art. Even here, David Doob says, help needed. I am doing a fun benefit book to help a family of critters who's been directly affected by COVID. Since Kickstarter and Indiegogo against a charity, we are doing a GoFundMe for this project to help their family. I need any sort of advice, tricks, and general sharing to help with this project. We've never done something like this before on crowdfunding and could always use some help. So this I like. It gives us the information, tells us what they're trying to do, and we could help with that and talk to you guys about that. And as a matter of fact, I'll drop that in there. And let's see. So apparently someone brought back Jack Kirby's first masked hero. Now, I don't know. He might have been we're going to talk about that in a minute. We'll pause right here, and I'm going to put in that link, and we're going to get on with it. All right. There's that link for that crowdfunding. Okay, so tomorrow on Kickstarter, we're going to be on Kickstarter. Tomorrow, I read Kickstarter. Tomorrow on The Devil's Advocate, we're going to be talking about IP theft. Basically people just taking what's not theirs. Now, I can't stress enough that I'm not sure if this is at all IP theft, because this could be a public domain character. So we're going to be talking about public domain characters as well. We're going to be talking about people just doing it. Of course, there was a Batman book that someone tried to get past. There's been a Disney Kickstarter. It goes on and on. A lot of Star Wars, a lot of enamel pin theft. We're going to talk about all that tomorrow, about IP theft. And it's not about fan art. I can't stress that enough. We're not trying to talk about fan art. We've talked about fan art in the past. This is beyond fan art. This is literally merchandising things that you have no right to merchandise, or writing books about something you have no right to do. And again, I'm not calling out bullets and bandanas for that, because I don't know. That might be a public domain character, and I'll make sure to research that. And we're going to talk about public domain and how public domain can help creators. So that is going to be part of the topic tomorrow. So, all right. I've kind of hinted away from this and all that. So one of the things I haven't talked about is, if you guys noticed, I said we canceled all the shows. So everyone might be wondering, well, what happens to Kickstarter Pause? That's a very popular show. Well, we're canceling Kickstarter Pause. However, we're replacing it right away. And on Wednesday, the theme of the news for 1 hour will be Backer Pause. We are getting rid of Kickstarter because not everyone uses Kickstarter. And if you really think about it, a bad video can give a backer pause and a reason not to back it. So that's what we're going to be doing there. And I think it'll be a pretty exciting show. I'll probably have to record a lot of videos with some of the changes we're doing right now. One of those being the Kickstarter pause. We'll see how I can do that. I have the weekend to do that, and I have until actually next Wednesday. But going forward, you heard it first here. Backer pause replaces Kickstarter pause. Same format of the show, just with different rules. So, I mean, with different names. Sorry. And we're going to be in a stricter time because we'll start the show with the news. We'll get all the breaking news out of the way, and that'll basically put backer pause down to a half an hour segment some days. Depends. I mean, if it's a light news day, we'll get through the news pretty quickly and move right on to it and talk about the backers and what they can be backing. So it's very important that your videos are going to be have to be a lot tighter. So we're going to quickly go through. When we critique it, one of the things we're going to have to do is be mindful of going as quick as we can to get as many videos as we can. So again, we will have that strong 1 hour cutoff going forward, and I'm pretty excited about that. And giving you a 1 hour show every day, so it's not too much. You don't have to feel overwhelmed. We'll also be doing time stamping. So during the show, I'll be writing down different times where we switch segments. And then when I'm done, I will post the segment log at the bottom of the, I'll put it in our comments, and I'll also put it in probably the YouTube videos. I'll go back over and I'll maybe edit it and give you the breakdown of where they are. And we're going to give you a show that you're hopefully going to be very proud of. All right. So basic idea again, Mondays are going to be the weekend wrap up. We'll talk about what happened over the weekend. Tuesdays are going to focus on our news and try to do an interview with the independent creator out there, whoever wants to be on Tuesday's show. There'll be a spot to be interviewed by them, and we'll have Odin here hanging out with us as a co-host, and he'll be bringing up topics that he wants to talk about on a roundtable. And we'll, of course, invite the guest, if they'd like, to be part of that roundtable discussion. Wednesdays will be the Kickstarter Pause, now rebranded, because that's done, and it's going to be Backer Pause. And then Thursdays we're going to have, when he's feeling back up to it, Josh Lyman will come back on. We'll talk about some stuff of his choosing after we run down the news. We'll do another roundtable on Thursdays and Friday. I'll be the week wrap-up show, and if we have time for an interview, maybe we'll do some nuts and bolts. Maybe we'll check in with Meredith for her program of the COMiX Noob. So I'm pretty excited about that, and we're going to be bringing you as much content as we can. And I think that's it, guys. We'll play a couple of videos to give you a couple ideas of what we're going to be doing otherwise, and that's about it. So, all right, let's see. Let me see. So one of the things that we're going to have for you guys is the round table. So what's a round table?
It's that time again to have an honest, unfiltered conversation with creators. This is Creators Roundtable.
Terraform Comics is changing the landscape of comics. Subscribe at terraformcomics.com. Comicbookadvocates.com is the global digital Comic-Con, but it's more than that. And you can be more too. Be more than just a fan. Become an advocate for comics, like comicbookadvocates.com is for their creators, for their crowdfunding, for the very books they're creating, because we love comics.
Let me, Indie.
Of course, we revealed that, but that video is still kick-ass, so I use it. And that'll be kind of the video packages that we have. I'm not going to keep you guys here to the 1 hour mark today because no one was ready for it. This is the format. If you have any questions, we'll be dealing with the questions as we go through the show itself. So we'll be answering questions, taking comments towards the back end of the show. So again, most days you're going to see us start right away with the indie news, get that out of the way. What have we heard from the indie market? And hey, Meredith, if you want to jump on, you can talk about the COMiX noob real quick and tell us where your journey is, because I got some extra time today, Meredith. So I'm going to send you actually the chat. And again, this is not open like all the other, like Devil's Advocate, that's an open show. That's always going to be something where you guys are going to be able to jump in. We have people randomly showing up, and I like that format. We do reserve the right to push people in and out as necessary to keep the room flowing. Plus, if you have any audio issues, nothing personal, but we're probably going to ask you to leave because audio issues cause such a problem with us. All right. All right, Meredith, it's I've still got open slots. Oh, yeah. It's actually a good segue here. So, for those who don't know, we're going to be doing the indie event again. It's coming at the end of the month in August. I'm super excited about some of the stuff that we got going on. It's going to be a great time. We want you guys to be part of it. And here comes Meredith now. Meredith, talk to us about what this indie event's going to look like while I cough.
All right, hold on a second here. Can you hear me okay?
You're good, loud and clear.
All right, so COMiX noob. Let me get with that first. I took a break from it because I was getting to a point where all of the work was kind of converging, and with all of the different podcasts that I was doing, I was talking about creating comics, not actually writing the comics. So I had to take a little bit of a break. I'm still figuring out my schedule and everything. Some of the podcasts have gone away. COMiX noob is coming back. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm making it so. It's been really kind of a journey to prioritize what needs to happen, what I can share, and things like that. So it's one thing to have all of these podcasts, and it was something that Rob and I had talked about, but if it takes away from the creative time, then it's not really helping us as individuals. Maybe we're helping everybody else. So it's kind of time to put the oxygen mask on ourselves and be able to create. Then we can have new things to talk about. So that's what the COMiX noob. That is going to be launching in September. What's the first Monday in September? Because I think I'm taking Mondays. I decided that Mondays was a good time. So September 7th is actually Labor Day. Well, all right. I'm not going anywhere. I don't know about you guys. Now with Indie Event, that is coming up at the end of the month. This month has really flown by. I don't know, Rob, did you talk about it? Because I said that I was going to watch the replay. I missed most of it.
Oh, honestly, I was kind of talking about the reforming of everything that we're doing. the way
Yeah.
we're going to do the news, the way that you're going to be a constant guest on here to update us. Because when you have a bigger video, I think what we had talked about was the COMiX Noob won't be a weekly show. It'll be only an important show.
That's right. That's right. When I have updates and things like that, and just progress reports and things. And there are going to be times where I'll just take an hour because I have a guest or something,
Yeah, it'll be special in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. Indie Vent. We're doing something different. On Saturday, the 29th, we are planning on having our format like we did the last time, where people are bringing their own show. And then on Geek Insider, Comic Book Advocates, and I really recommend that everybody who is participating, who has a YouTube channel, create the playlist. There's a way that you can do it from the centralized one where you take the link from the centralized YouTube, the playlist for the event, and add it to yours. That way, you are actually sharing out everybody's YouTube feed. It has content on it, and you're kind of fleshing out your YouTube channel with different playlists. And kind of instead of that one row going across, a lot of people, they simply don't know how to clean up their YouTube channel. In any event, it's a way to network. It is going to be really good for replays. People can watch. Yeah, so this was our last event. That was the last day because we had the authors in there. We're going to be doing something similar, where all of those pictures are links to their main site, or it should be. The way we're doing things a little bit differently on Sunday. And Rob and I, this was actually Rob's idea. I think it's brilliant, is to have a selling component, to really focus on selling. That's the magic bullet that's been missing from these things. After putting some thought into it and trying not to kill ourselves with being like an all-day event, being present the entire time, the easiest way for us to put together a selling component is by each individual seller. If you've got books that you are trying to unload because you're not at an event, you put together a 5-minute video that is your pitch. You can repurpose the one that you have for Kickstarter or Indiegogo. We're fine with that. Then you need to go to QR Code Monkey, get a QR code that is directed to your seller's page. I don't want to deal with your money. I don't want money to pass through me to get to anybody else. I am not a bookseller. This is for direct sales. Get your QR code from QR Code Monkey, I think it is, and we'll share the link here. Have that directed to your seller's site. Send me your QR code with your 5-minute video. What I plan on doing is from now until the deadline that I haven't put together yet, or I haven't set a deadline, I should say. I'm going to create a long video. With that video is going to be timestamps. So when your video ends, we're going to post your QR code for about a minute, and then it'll be kind of like maybe a commercial bump or something like that. And then it's going to go on to the next one. On the website will be the timestamps. So that catalog of who is pitching, where their QR code is, and you can buy directly from them. The website is only going to be a vehicle. Same thing with YouTube. The idea is to really go out there and sell. Let people know what your book is and where they can find it. So that's really the exciting part of it. Now, Sunday isn't going to be all videos and stuff. I plan on kind of mixing that up a little bit. So it might be an hour of video with the QR codes. We're going to put that up on the website. Then in between them, we'll have interviews. We'll have sit downs. Maybe we'll do a panel. I'm not entirely sure. That hasn't been fleshed out yet. But again, we want to focus on the selling aspect of Sunday, being back. People are going back to school, So consider maybe having a little sale, consider doing bundles, and then just having fun. We want people to pop in. If you have a video and you're available, there are going to be some people who are going to do their show on Saturday. They might not be available on Sunday, but if you are, we would love to have you during that time period where your clip is showing. So, yes, we would love for you to be there. Do you need to be? No, because I'm hoping that some people will actually have, smaller events to go to. I know that there are going to be, and Rob, maybe you can help me out. I've heard that some people, there are like little library shows or meet and greets, flea markets and things like that. So people are trying to get as creative as possible with going out into the world and selling their books. If you cannot be there, talk to us. If there's space, we're going to put you in there. We would actually prefer to have you here or pop in from your event, be an ambassador for your event. That would be kind of cool too. Rob, you're on mute.
To the library. Sorry, I was sharing it while we were watching, so everyone gets the news. To the library show question, we're not going to be covering them for the simple reason we don't want anyone to get in trouble.
Oh.
So we're not gonna call anyone out ahead of time. We might talk about it after the show's done, but not before the show's done. So I am worried because a lot of people don't know this. There was going to be a show that got shut down, and I won't say who because, again, I don't want to draw attention to it. But they tried to shoot off a show, and they got in trouble. I know there's 5 shows right now this weekend. I know where they all are, and I'm not going to say anything, so I'm not going to jinx them. I want them to have a good show. So even one here in Florida, they're very smart. People are finding ways around it. But the whole thing now, it's like almost we're in like prohibition right now, and comics are actually what have been outlawed. So people are trying to find fun ways to sell them. Really excited about that. A year from now, we're going to be talking about all these smaller little shows. I actually had someone reach out to me seeing if I had an interest. The problem would be that I would have to quarantine before going to the show legally. But still, like, the idea's out there. I'm pretty excited. Creators find a way, and I love creators for that. We have a bunch of
Rob, I was thinking because I live a half a mile away from a park. And, it would be so cool if we had those 10 by 10 pop-up tents so that everybody had their social distancing, but you're covered from the sun and the rain, and everybody has a table, and you just kind of go down the walking path, and, you meet and greet while you're going. I don't know. It's a county run park. I don't know if that would even be allowed, but that would be so much fun.
I agree. I think that's absolutely a great idea. I said that we have to think outside the box, especially here in Florida. You can gather more outside than you can inside. We're about to hit a season where the rain stops. We're finally not going to have the daily rain. I think a September show is definitely something we have to start talking to other creators, getting with other creators in Florida and see. I mean, what is it, $50? I once had, like, 'cause we have a park here, same thing, Lakes Park. I wouldn't do it in our county, don't get me wrong. But we celebrated my son's, I think, 3rd birthday. Yeah, it would have been his 3rd birthday. And we rented a piece of the park. You had a little, because some parks have gazebos. Mm-hmm. So we get that gazebo and set up under the gazebo. We'd never have to worry. So that's what we need to do. Set up under a gazebo and start doing shows again because, man, no one cares what we're going through. And we need to make sure that we're taking care of us and we're entertaining people. There's no one coming to save us, kids. We got to save ourselves. Yeah. So I love the energy. And again, I wish I could talk about these shows, but I'm not going to have anyone get in trouble because I announced that someone was doing a show. And I've actually had some people ask me, don't promote this. Don't talk about this. Because, again, it's kind of like we're all like, shh, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, we're all on the DM.
Yeah, like there are private conversations happening. And a lot of times I do hear things and I'll check for sources, because, again, we want to be able to give you guys the news that we can, but we don't want to do it when we hurt someone when they're trying to do something. Because look, I'm not getting involved in the whole beer bug pandemic argument about who's right and who's wrong. Not doing it. I will say this: we can't continue to just sit here and take it. That is one thing. You're talking to someone who literally couldn't go to the funeral for his mother because of this. But everyone tells me a mask works. If a mask works, why couldn't I be at a funeral? So that's where my mindset's at. Like, we have to start trying to figure this out. If it gets worse, of course, we should all go home and run into our rooms and hide. Absolutely. If it gets more deadly, I definitely think we should go backwards. But for now, we got to figure out how to still live. I mean, I see Walmart every weekend full of people, but we're not allowed to have a Comic-Con. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated. I want to see that. All right, let's do some comments. For anyone who talked about my mom's passing, I appreciate it in the comment section, but we're not going to talk about it. I did. Thank you. I do appreciate the comments made. Thank you for the sympathy, but we're going to focus on news and your comments beyond that. But thank you to everyone who sent me a message during the show. We're just not going to read them all out loud. So, hey, Anderson, I love to have you on my show. Sign me up. I'm all there. I'd love to talk about comics and how we can help other people. I hope you're still watching. All right. I'm sorry. Before I say your name, I'm already going to apologize. Carinder? That's my best guess. That's my best guess. Meredith, do you have a better one for me?
to say his name?
Yeah.
I'll probably massacre, but my guess is Carinder Sign.
I think that's Singh.
Singh?
Yeah, because there was a wrestler who spelt it that way, and they always said Singh when his name came out. So I think that's actually Singh with the H being silent. I could be wrong, and I apologize. Look, the one thing I can't promise you is I'm never going to pronounce your name right. So if you have a name that you think I'm going to pronounce wrong, and trust me, I screwed up Meredith a bunch of times already. And how's your last name said? You missed that.
Lochran.
Actually, I think I nailed it today.
I think you did. But you know what? I can pop off here. I just wanted to talk about Comic Noob, because you mentioned it, and definitely Indie Event. If I still have slots open on Saturday, and we're going to have details on Sunday up on the website this weekend, so that I'm not inundated with a million DMs. I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. I love you all, but I can't do like one-on-one conversations with if I'm getting hit with 100 people.
You can hang out. We're about to wrap up the show.
Cool.
We have a strict 1 hour rule now. So this won't go. I was actually going to shut it down a few minutes ago before you came on. I was just going to read the comments and go. But you said the indie event. I wanted to talk about the Comics Noob. And, we're not trying to get rid of programming. See, everyone had said, well, Rob, why are you doing more programming? For me, this is less programming because my Kickstarter pause was 2 hours. The news, both shows were 2 hours. I was doing 6 hours of content plus the Devil's Advocate. Believe it or not, I'm only going to be doing 5 hours. I've actually cut it down and been able to spread that across 5 shows. It gives you guys constant news. We're not just hitting you with a dozen stories a day anymore. And I get to bring people like Meredith on, have a casual conversation, invite her to stay for the rest of the show and get feedback. And that's what we want. We want this to be a news program. Again, I'm even willing to set up like I don't know how, but if I curse on the show, like I'll donate $1 to a Kickstarter live on air. The Kickstarter you guys all get to pick when we're on this show and this show alone. I am committing to not cursing that much. So we might even do that just as a fun thing. And we're going to go around and read the rest of the comments. Here we go. Pops says, I have told a few people to talk to you. I don't know if that's a threat, Pops. I mean, it sounds like I know Pops is just talking. He's being nice. He's sending out the word. And, of course, give us all the information. I know Pops is on Kickstarter right now. Mojo Rising, right? I believe it's Mojo Rising. RISEN. Find it on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. No, it's Kickstarter. It's on Kickstarter right now. And did you see the news about the Kickstarter? What's happening to it, Meredith?
No. What's going on with that?
Okay, I'll tell you in a minute. Pops in-store signings are doing well. They're limited, though. Not all creators can, like right now in my area, there's no whatsoever way to get a store signing. They just don't support independent creators. It depends where you are. We're looking into it for September. Terraform Comics is actually looking into starting some signings in September. So we are. That is a good suggestion. Don't be frustrated if your local place doesn't do them. Maybe you have to drive a little bit. And hey, a nice drive might be nice. I wouldn't mind going to Orlando to do a store signing. just to get away from home for a weekend. I've never spent this much time in my entire life in Cape Coral, and I've lived here almost 5 years now. This year, I'm like, oh my God, I'm still here. Because I was always on the road. I was always going somewhere. And there was a streak of 18 months I didn't spend the entire month in Florida. Now I'm looking at an 18-month streak of being stuck in Florida. Help me. Let me out. All right. Meet Dominic Pace. And I know Travis and Matt did one. Oh, store signings. I only know that because of Travis and Matt, because they had done Travis has been doing a few store signings. Matt has. I know Luke has done a store signing. I know a couple friends who are doing store signings up in New York, in the East Coast area, but a lot of that's been outside. Like some people are, like Meredith had said, you step outside, you change the rules. Indoor seating versus outdoor seating. So we have to look at all these things. And of course, for those who don't know, I'm going to be downloading all the audio and giving it to Meredith. Meredith will also be taking her audio and putting it part of the Geek Insider as well. So if you give it to us, not only are you going to hit the Indie Volt radio network, you're going to hit Geek Insider, which I believe is on iHeartRadio.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll be that. And starting next week, I'll have the Friday wrap-up where I take all the top things. And it'll probably be in the more evening hours. It'll be like a late-night post because I'll want to get as much news as I can until that very last minute and then launch it there. Pops Van Sen said to Meredith. With love, I assume. Pete does a show in a bar. That's not a bad idea. Like people, there was a beer con going on, and I heard very good things. They were making some money because people get drunk. They open their wallets. I'm all for that. Hey, you were over an hour. Sign up. We're not because I started a little late. Actually, we actually started a little late. I have a timer up here that tells me we're at 56 minutes and 35 seconds. But I am watching that timer, so we are going to be heading out. The real quick thing I wanted to show Meredith, and I'm sure we got to talk about some amazing stuff for this upcoming indie event. That's why I actually asked her to stay around so we could have a few minutes after the show. Because the after show is really where it's at, kids. Indie event, by the way, is at the end of the month, and I actually should have it as an overlay now. On the 29th and the 30th of this month. Join us for that. Pretty excited about that coming up. And Meredith, we canceled Kickstarter talk. Kickstarter pause. We replaced it with backer pause. Because think about it. When you're watching a video and you want to back a project and the video is not so great, don't you have backer pause? See, double entendre there. All right, kids, we're out of here. Thank you all for showing up. Meredith, tell them where they can find you.
You guys can find me at meredithlochran.com. Of course, I didn't spell my name out down here, so you probably don't know how to do that. But you can also find me on geekinsider.com, wildoneforever.com, terraformcomics.com. I'm everywhere. Look for me on Facebook or Google my name. Back to you, Rob.
And remember, every day now we're going to be coming live to you in the comics news. I'm sure Meredith is going to be a staple. She'll show up all the time giving us cool news. So get wired in with the comics news. And remember that Comic Book Advocates is wired into the comic book fandom for you so you can show up and just get the news you want. So if you have any news, again, you can go to we actually dropped the link in earlier. But if you just have something to share with us, go to comicsnewswire@yahoo.com. And eventually we're going to have a Geek Insider video that Meredith is promising me, or I'm going to make one to talk about Geek Insider. So real quick, Geek Insider is where you can get, what's the pitch line?
Oh, you can get entertainment, news, comics through Comic Book Advocates Network, and tech. All
right, so that's it. We're out of here. And on our way out, we're going to remind you to check in with Indie Volt. So we're going to play their segment again as I look for the videos. They just changed where the videos were, so I keep looking in the overlays like an idiot. All right, guys, thank you for being part of our show today. We'll see you next week at 11 a.m. on Monday. Subscribe to IndieVolt.com to recharge your fandom and to get an education. Be sure to check out all of the Indie Volt programming on the 9s, with hosts like Randy Zimmerman, The Kid, Varian Grant, The Indie Princess, with more hosts and shows to come.